Anything Everywhere All at Once is anything everywhere all at once for everyone to enjoy. I've never watched a film where I felt by the end of it, I didn't know how to talk about it or to review it. I actually felt dread doing this review because I was like, I don't know how to fucking explain this movie. I guess it's a combination really of what you would love from films like Inception and The Matrix, those trippy kind of mind-bending films, but it's actually tied into this very simple story that kind of grounds the film even when shit is absolutely everywhere. You can always ground yourself to be like, okay, this is what it represents. So for that, I commend the film for taking what on paper sounds like an absolute bonkers concept and somehow making it easy to understand. Michelle Yeoh is amazing. The fight scenes are incredible, and there's a great mix of special effects and practical effects with the fight scenes where they're over the top, but they're also really funny. I laughed so hard at the fight scenes in this movie, just because the premise and the setup, there's a rule in this film that results in limitless jokes, visual gags in the film, which is that if you do something weird, it can transport you to your alternate universe. I guess I should probably start with explaining the plot. Michelle Yeoh plays Evelyn. She's this mother that hates her life. Her life is this monotonous drain of her existence where she hasn't really achieved the dreams that she wanted to achieve in her life. She's married, she has a kid, her daughter is in a relationship with another woman. She doesn't really fully accept that, which the film did a beautiful job of showing the subtlety of it. It wasn't as clear as she doesn't like that she's in a relationship with a woman. It wasn't cliched the way it was presented, which is really good, especially because it's been done to death. So it's good to see that. Anyway, she goes to an auditor to file her taxes, and when she gets there, she's approached by what seems to be her husband, but it's actually her husband in another universe who's transported to her universe to tell her that she's in grave danger because this evil force is trying to find every version of Evelyn in every universe and kill her through a bunch of exposition dumps that are actually carefully done in between fight scenes to maintain the interest. They actually set up that this is a world where you're allowed to go to multiple universes, grab skills from other versions of you. For example, Evelyn has a universe where she was a chef, so she can travel to that universe, gain the skills of being a chef, and then come back to this present universe where the film is taking place, and then use those skills in fight scenes and whatnot. It's really cool. And the way they set it up is that you have to do something really weird and improbable, something that you would not do in that universe to transport you over. With that plot, it allows a lot of messed up shit to happen. A lot of people in this movie do a lot of really fucked up, weird things for the purpose of going to other universes, which sets up endless jokes. This film feels like a Family Guy episode with all the cutaways and shit, but what if those cutaways actually joined the story somehow, which is a marvel. Really, by the end of this film, I appreciated the writing so much because I thought to myself, how the fuck did they tie everything together so well? You see a lot of fight scenes that go from one universe to another seamlessly, and there's this flow with these fight scenes where it's done without effort, all right? Let's just say that. It's done without effort. It looks like it didn't take effort. I actually said to Denise, who appeared on my podcast where we reviewed this episode, which you can catch at the Oz Culture Podcast. And one of the things I said to her was, I thought this movie was written by like 10 people, like a team of fucking special writers that just threw shit at a wall. And then I found in the credits, it's only written by 2 people. And I was like, fuck off. No way. This film is too crazy. So many ideas. Like, I feel these writers would have went into a boardroom meeting and just been like, Fuck it, I'm just gonna say it. We're gonna have a scene where like giraffes are just having a gangbang. Just putting it out there. Yous will say no for sure. And they were like, we'll give you $10 million. Yeah, let's do it. Not that there is a scene like that in the movie. I'm just trying to show that there's some really fucked up shit in this movie that I can't explain to you. The only way I can explain it is if you just watch the movie and come back and then listen to my podcast where we did a whole spoiler talk about this. The whole crucial message and core of the film is this relationship between a mother and daughter that's been tense because they're not accepting of each other and they're not understanding each other. Yeah, there's a lack of empathy. But through this high concept of the universe jumping, they actually do come together, and it's a really, really tight script with lots of twists and turns where you're not sure where it will end. Only complaint I'll say about the film is I do feel like it dragged a bit. Obviously, I'm sure this was done intentionally, but it annoyed the shit out of me where it just went way too long with the multiple jumping between universes to the point where I thought I was gonna have an epileptic seizure. In fact, I find it weird this film doesn't have like some kind of warning about that. What if I put my panic attacks on like a projector? What would it look like? And then as I watched this, I was like, that's what it feels like to have anxiety. You wanna understand what it's like? That's anxiety, just presented in a more fun way. What else can I really say about the film? The cast is incredible. The fight scenes are hilarious. The universes that these people go to is just incredible. And what they come up with is so imaginative and so unpredictable that I was pissing myself laughing in this theater. I'm pretty sure I was the loudest laugh in the theater. Actually, Denise confirmed this for me. I was the loudest laugh in the theater, by far. There's a fun game to play. A game that I played with Denise, who I watched the film with, was saying, what do you think this film is like? And I was like, I think this film is like the first time doing marijuana when you don't know what to expect, or the first time doing any drug when you don't know what it's like to do that drug. But when this film drops the special effects and just comes down to earth for these brief moments, it's a relief for the senses, and it's a relief for us, the audience, because we get to catch up. And they did it in so many creative ways as well, where there were times when the fight scenes and the special effects and the action dropped, where I was like, okay, the heart and soul of this movie is there, and it's clear as day. This film borrows a lot from those other movies I mentioned, like The Matrix and Inception, but I actually feel like this movie was easier to understand than those films because its core message was so much easier to understand, and it had a simple purpose for what it wanted to achieve. The first Matrix, it's clear that it's all about, believing in yourself, being the one, and breaking free from the monotonous nature of reality, breaking away from, things like consumerism, commercialism, all that. This film has this clear message of, mother and daughter trying to come to terms with each other. It deals with things like generational trauma, because the mother's been treated a certain way by her father, and now it's been passed on, and she has to kind of break the chain of that. Funnily enough, if you liked a film like Turning Red, you'll find a lot of similarities. This film and Turning Red dealt with very similar themes, which I really appreciate. Other than this film dragging on a little bit near the end and getting a bit too lost in its own big action set pieces and stuff like that, and doing the mind-bending, trippy visual effects, I feel like this is a really special film, and it's one of those movies where I would tell people you have to see it in a cinema. You can't just say to yourself, I'll just wait till it comes up on a streaming platform, because there is nothing that's gonna match that experience of seeing this in a theater. Plus the sound design is absolutely incredible. I feel if this film is gonna get any awards, it's gonna be for, number one, the fight choreography, which was hilarious while still having those like gut-busting kind of moments of like, ooh, like that hurt. But also great sound design. There's so many different nuances of like when the universe jumping is occurring, how the sound changes between fight scenes to other universes. It's just, even as I think about it now, I'm just like, whoa. Like this movie after you finish watching it, I feel you really need to give yourself some time to kind of process everything going on. It's a bit like going to a funeral. Like, you need to like give yourself some time alone by yourself to rock back and forth in the corner in like the fetal position and just come back to reality. I didn't do that and I paid for it. So yeah, that is Anything Everywhere All at Once. Great film. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. Deals with amazing new themes that I don't feel are being dealt with a lot, which is always great. The special effects and the fight scenes are phenomenal. And it's just a really funny movie that also doesn't take itself seriously. It has its moments where it'll be grounded and we can really feel the severity of what's happening, but yet also has these hilarious fucking out there moments where you feel like you're watching, shows like Family Guy on steroids. Like, this film could definitely work as an anime or an animation. What did you think of the film? If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe. And also, if you want to hear a spoiler talk about this film where I go a bit more in depth, you can also check out my podcast at the Oz Culture Podcast. Yeah, that's it. All right.